Am I the asshole? For asking why my wife wanted something for her birthday? It was my wife's birthday recently and she asked me to buy her a counterfeit designer bag. I asked her why because I really didn't get it. We conversed a little and though she showed signs that she was feeling a little uncomfortable that I was asking her this, I kept the conversation going because I wanted to explain why I was asking her this question instead of saying, sure I'm not super well off but I make good money and am financially stable. So spending a few hundred or even a few grand for a designer handbag or a counterfeit for much less was NBD. But I really wanted to rather get her something that has much more intrinsic value, so I wanted to explain my rationale. She ended up getting quite offended that I asked her that question and kept the conversation going. She then told me that this was the worst birthday of her life. She's usually not the type to care that much about showing status. She hasn't even bought new clothing aside from a few t-shirts since maybe a year or two ago. She's also usually the very meticulous type to always evaluate what she wants to spend her money on. She does her research thoroughly and decides if she wants something or not and buys a cheaper alternative if she thinks there is a lot of overhead on certain popular consumer goods. I just wanted to understand why she suddenly felt the need to show status but not spend the $2K or however much it is for a Gucci or Dior bag and hence the ask for a counterfeit, but we now both feel super hurt on her birthday. Am I the asshole? Edit. A lot of thoughts usually race in my head. I think the whole counterfeit part triggered most of it, and led to just a lot of questions in my head. But in retrospect I've totally fucked up as a partner to just get her what she wants for her birthday. After all, I did truly want to get something she wanted and she finally answered. The numerous questions that came up in my head don't really matter for shit. Having questions are fine. But I need to frame them better casually, maybe at a later time. I should probably tame my ADHD better as well. I need to find out a way to apologize and make it up to her. What do you want for your birthday? Thing. Ew, gross, why? Never mind, forget it. But why to? Tell me why you're gross. X200B. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. It's your wife's birthday, she shouldn't feel attacked because she asked for a bag. If she wants the bag, get her bag, who cares why she wants it? It only matters that she wants it. You really are making this a miserable experience for her, and in future if there is one she might feel weird and not be able to tell you what she actually wants because she's afraid of being interrogated. I used to ask for practical things for birthdays and Christmas, but my husband said to me one year I should pick something I want, not something I need, because we can get the practical anytime. You're the asshole. You didn't just ask out of curiosity. You required her to justify the gift. So what if you want her to have something with more intrinsic value? It's her birthday, and what she wants is what matters. Good luck getting her to open up to you about anything else. She showed you that she does sometimes desire material things, for whatever reason, and you made her feel uncomfortable about it. It might be difficult to understand, but maybe, just maybe, she just wanted the bag. Not for status, not to show off, but just because she wanted it. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. It's not about the handbag. She showed signs of being uncomfortable and you kept pushing her. I personally don't buy genuine designer because 1. It's usually poorly made and overpriced, and 2. When I inevitably scuff, stain, or otherwise damage the item, I don't feel bad. You're the asshole. People are allowed to want things without having a good reason. You asked what she wanted, then required her to justify that want. I'm guessing it will be some time before your wife asks you for anything but the most basic things. Perhaps that's what you want. And that's a sad thing if true. You hurt your wife's feelings, and likely made her feel like an idiot for asking. You owe her an apology. Info. How many times did she tell you to drop the conversation? How many questions did you ask? Asking once and getting an evasive answer would land you an NTA, but you kept at it after she was clear she didn't want to talk about it would change that answer. Also, was she offended or just annoyed? Offended would make me think something weird is going on, but annoyed would make sense after being badgered. Also, as the recipient, she gets to decide what the better gift is. I can see how that would piss her off. You're the asshole, you don't scrutinize other people's birthday wishes like that. She must have felt like she was at a court and had to bring evidence to support her case. Next time, just buy the present if you can afford it and zip it up. Nobody likes the Spanish Inquisition. You're the asshole. Gifts should be about what the receiver wants, not what you the giver perceives a gift should be. I think, as you said, she might have carefully researched what she wanted and found it at the price point that would do the job for her. Did you consider perhaps, it wasn't the name on the bag but the actual style of the bag? She just wanted a purse for her birthday and your inquisition made it feel like you were doubting her ability to choose something for her birthday. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. You made her uncomfortable with being judge and jury over what she wanted for her birthday. Why do you feel hurt? She did nothing wrong. You're making her birthday about your feelings over a bag. You don't need to understand or question why. You can justify it all you like, but you ruined her birthday when you could have just let it go. Good luck in her being open with you in the future about gifts. She'll save herself the inquisition and she won't want to risk another day being ruined. Because she wants IT. Why does she have to explain why? That's so weird and a really annoying question to have to answer. I'd bet OP does this regularly. Has a need to understand, like he is so intellectual that he must command explanations regarding all aspects of life. Wife probably thought asking for a knockoff would be easier, but was sadly disappointed. You're the asshole. You're the asshole, and why do people think it is okay to act like this? Stop blaming ADHD, you're just an asshole. Info: why were you super hurt? You know that childlike spark, that light in their eyes, that all women should have around their men? You snuffed it out. You're the asshole. Lamau, imagine it's your birthday and all you want is goddamn bag and you get asked 5 million times why you want a bag. You're the asshole, a big one. So, when someone asks you for a gift on their birthday, you don't make them have to explain and defend their wants. That's what a school teacher or boss does, not your partner. So yeah, kind of a fuck up on your side. Do something spontaneous and nice, and apologize. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. You asked, she told you, you passed judgment and now you are trying to school her. She is your wife, not your child. It's fair that you ask, but it's unfair for you to judge and then try to teach her a life lesson. You even posted that she puts a lot of thought into her purchases and doesn't shop for clothing often. If this is the case, why didn't you just trust her instead of creating an awkward situation? You, sir, need to apologize and make this right. Nice, let's just blame the ADHD. Even if you don't mean to hide behind it, so many of your comments is justifying your behavior because you have ADHD. You're the asshole for the way you treated your partner when she asked for a bag. You said she never buys clothes for herself. She never chooses to spoil herself on this kind of thing, and this could be for a variety of reasons, but occasionally everybody likes to feel nice when they dress up, wear or carry nice accessories and feel a little special. Her birthday may be her chance to feel a little more dolled up, and it's sad that you, without meaning it, have made her feel like that is pointless. You're the asshole. I sound like your wife. I'm easygoing and don't really spend money on me. So when I say I want X, my husband would never question it. Yes. I'm not even reading, it's your wife. You only live once, who cares why? She didn't even ask for the real thing. I would have told mine sure and bought her an original no matter how much I had to work to pay it off. But that's me. Maybe she cares more about having something nice than you might think, but she knows if she asks you then she'll get a full-on interrogation that makes her feel stupid and small. You're the asshole.
Am I the asshole? Because I don't want to name my son after my Phil. My husband and I are expecting a baby boy in 3 months. The issue started when my Phil passed away 2 months ago. My husband, who was very close to having split up with Arthur's father shortly after having her second child, who was born with a severe disability, and she was struggled mentally and practically, which meant Arthur's care was falling by the wayside. Our parents stepped in and we all agreed that my husband and I would take custody of him. It was meant to be temporary. But after a year, Gia formally signed over her rights and my husband, Arthur, my daughter and I moved abroad 1.5-hour flight from Gia. Arthur visits his mother in school holidays and Gia comes out to visit us in the summer and at Christmas. Gia has worked very hard to rebuild her life and now has a fiancé and a third child. Over the past year, Arthur has been putting up more of a fight about going to visit Gia. He says he wants to see his friends during holidays and do more sports. He competes in go-karting. He also says he doesn't like going to Gia's because he doesn't have his own space there. Has much less freedom. Doesn't like the food, activities, etc. I do understand, but at the same time I've always said it's important that he sees his mother. This came up again when I was making plans for half-term and Arthur asked if he could skip his trip to see his mother. He said going to Gia's place just feels like he's being punished for not being our bio child. He said he just wants to stay home like his sister, my daughter. This absolutely broke my heart. I love Arthur just the same as I love my daughter, and the thought he would feel singled out in any way she tore me to pieces. I talked it over with my husband and we decided that we wouldn't force Arthur to go. Gia is furious. She called me all sorts of horrible things. Accused me of pressuring her to give up custody of Arthur. This didn't happen, and stealing her baby again. Not true. She berated me for letting him call me mom. For turning our parents against her. For turning her son into a spoilt brat who looks down on her. Eventually she said if I didn't make him come and visit she would sue me for custody of him. I've spoken to a lawyer who says there is next to no chance that a judge would give custody back to Gia. The parents' mother and Gia's father think I should retain custody of Arthur, but that I should still make sure he is visiting Gia, at least for the next couple of years, as he is too young to realize the impact not having any bond with her will be, and he can decide that when he's older. My husband and I are just trying to do right by Arthur. I don't want him feeling like we don't take his opinion into account. But at the same time I don't want to put him through the stress of a legal battle over all this. And I believe Gia when she said she'll start suing for custody, even if she won't win. So am I the asshole for not making him go? Not the asshole. She signed over her rights, so that will be impossible for her to regain custody. He's basically a teenager and he sees things over at his mom's that he doesn't like. He doesn't have his own space. He probably feels like an outsider, etc. Sit him down and have a serious talk with him. Ask him why. What happens when he goes over there, etc. Get him to go in detail. If doesn't want to go, don't make him. It's up to his mother to fix her bond with your nephew, not him. He's a child. The thing that jumps out at me is he so clearly sees himself as yours. He doesn't want to be sent away. It makes him feel like he isn't your child. I can't imagine how hard that would be. You so clearly love him. I know this isn't useful advice, but congratulations on raising him in such a way that he knows he's yours. I think his needs and wants come above biomom. You need to listen to what he's saying to you. That's putting his interests first. Family therapy or individual therapy if you think it could be useful. Sending hugs to you all. Not the asshole. She went and had another kid during the 6 years Arthur's lived with you. I'm sorry Gia was struggling when he was younger, but she was somehow still able to go live a life without him. It also doesn't sound like she's made room for him in her current home. That's not fair to Arthur. Not the asshole. He's your kid now. You are his mom. Yes. Gia might have had her reasons for not being able to care for him before, but if she wants to maintain some relationship with him, she's going to have to be the one making the effort. Ultimately, though, it's his choice on whether he wants any relationship with his biological mother. He can't be forced into it. P.S. Kids tell you exactly what they want and what they're not comfortable with. Maybe try listening and talking to him about the why. It's important you support it. No matter how silly it may seem to you, it's important to him. Not the asshole, but 12 is the threshold for kids sliding into their friends' and own life. They no longer just do as they're told. Going to need to find a compromise. This won't get easier. Y'all need to seek a family therapist. You need to 100 follow whatever that little dude wishes are. He's been jerked around enough by having such a fractured situation. Following whatever he wishes is really the only way to allow him to heal. Verbally support him. Tell him repeatedly there are no wrong decisions. That's very important. That's coming from someone that went through similar. Not the asshole. Tell her to get off her ass and come visit her kid. If Arthur doesn't want to go see her for the reasons listed, it would make sense for her to take a trip or two and inconvenience herself for once. Can you imagine how awkward it will be if you force him to go there now? Not the asshole. After the threat of suing for custody, I wouldn't feel comfortable letting Arthur visit alone. What if she refused to send him back? Not the asshole. I saw your replies. You're replying as a devil advocate in all of them. It's clear that you have the best interest of all parties. But someone will get hurt from this. And I'd rather the kid not being that someone. I think the best solution is for Arthur to talk to Gia via a phone or video call. Let them discuss this, with you as a moderator. All of Arthur's reasoning for why he doesn't want to go meet Gia is valid. Let her hear it from Arthur straight. There needs to be a video call. Given the distance with the adults of both households and Arthur, the communication needs to be crystal clear as to why he is choosing not to go. It would be hard and devastating to your relationship with Arthur to force this issue. That said, bringing everything to light calmly and honestly could start the process for change. She relinquished her parental rights, which means he's your son in every sense of the word. Meanwhile, let her come to him in his space. Give Arthur a chance to work though some of his feelings, not the asshole. As he is too young to realize the impact not having any bond with her. Well, he is old enough to realize his mom chose to give him away on the pretense she can't take care of him. Yet she can take care of her younger than him child. Put that on top of feeling singled out if forced to go to her. Stick with the decision your family of 4 made. I get that it won't be easy or very kind to your sister. But choices and decisions have consequences. Your child is more important than your stepsister. Not the asshole. Okay, so after finding out he doesn't have his own room or guest room to retreat in, that his bio mom is a full-time caregiver for a child, is it any wonder he doesn't want to go? Also, he may be pissed at his bio mom for giving him up and then starting a whole new family. I know I might be salty about that. I wouldn't make him go, but I would put him in therapy. I would also let his make video calls to Gia whenever he wants. Not the asshole. Gia can come visit Arthur where he feels comfortable. Isn't that most important? Gia? Arthur is the priority. Am I the asshole for giving my son's bedroom to our foster child? My husband and I have been foster parents for over a decade. 2 months ago, We had 4 minor children living in our home. Our 12-year-old biological son, our 8 and 5-year-old adopted sons, and our 21-month-old foster son. Our 22-year-old foster daughter also still lives at home with us, and my 19-year-old son spent the summer back home after his freshman year of college. We also have other adult children that don't live at home but not really relevant. 7 weeks ago, we got a call for an emergency placement of 5 siblings: 17F, 12F, 10 meters, 7F, 6 meters. We only had 2 spare bedrooms but had enough spare beds in storage to make it work with the girls in one room and the boys in the other. It now looks like we are going to be fostering the 5 of them for considerably longer than we thought when they were placed with us. Because of the large age gaps between the girls, having them share more long-term isn't really ideal. We already moved the boys a few weeks ago. We bought a triple bunk for our 8 and 5-year-old's room and moved the 6-year-old in with them, and put the 10-year-old's bed into our 12-year-old's room. This allowed the 17-year-old girl to get her own room and the 2 younger girls to share. None of this created any drama, and the boys were all more than happy to share rooms with each other. Now that my 19-year-old is going back to college, we discussed and eventually agreed on turning his bedroom into a room for our 12-year-old girl so she has her own space away from her little sister. He wasn't impressed when I brought up the idea but agreed. However, before he left back for college a few days ago, he got into an argument with my husband, complaining it's unfair he's lost his room and that he has nowhere to go when he comes back home now. My other adult son also contacted me about the situation to essentially tell me it was a bad idea, and that his brother is really upset, and just because he's been away for college a year doesn't mean he is ready to lose his spot in the house. Last year we didn't need the extra space, so his room stayed empty when he was at college. This year it makes no sense to leave a bedroom empty and to make 2 girls 5 years apart in age share a room. He is still welcome home whenever, and if things change, e.g. he drops out, we can rearrange things. Again, losing his room is temporary as we don't normally have so many foster kids. When our other kids' grandkids visit, they happily use an air mattress in the den or bunk with a sibling, and he can do the same on his school breaks. He will most likely have his room back by next summer, and if not, we will figure out solutions then. I have explained all this to him, but he's not hearing me. Am I the asshole? I've bought new decor etc. for the room and plan on decorating and moving our foster daughter in tomorrow. Info. Why is it important for your 12-year-old foster daughter to need her own room but not for your 12-year-old son to need his own room? It really is coming off that you are prioritizing the foster kids over your biological adopted children, and that will cause a whole host of issues. Info. What's the process you use when deciding whether or not to accept a placement? Do you get the whole family's input? Have you asked your kids in a real way how they feel about having so many foster kids join the family at once? You're the asshole. Not for fostering, obviously, but for not realizing that it's your choice and your husband's to foster, not your children's. So by all means do it if you can do it without shuffling your own children around. They are gonna grow up thinking you care more about the foster kids than your own. You're the asshole. However, before he left back for college a few days ago, he got into an argument with my husband, complaining it's unfair he's lost his room and that he has nowhere to go when he comes back home now. Don't be surprised when he chooses not to come back. Air mattress in the den or bunk with a sibling, and he can do the same on his school breaks. Yeah, you're seriously overestimating the appeal of this family structure. Although I respect and applaud you for wanting to help out, I think this is you're the asshole. How big is your actual house? I'm counting like 10 people plus you two living in your house, and you're talking about triple bunk beds. I can understand why your son feels like you are taking on too much and pushing him out. I wouldn't be surprised if the older children feel that way too and just aren't saying it. You're the asshole. He is your biological son. You have basically just told him he has been kicked out of his home. Of course he is upset. Where the hell does he go outside of term time now you have given his room away? What next, are you going to give all his stuff away as well? You choose to foster. This is a good thing, but it shouldn't be to the detriment of your own children. YTA, you are giving away more than you have, and your son is paying the price, so to speak. Facts, you don't have the room to foster properly. Facts, you still continue to do so at the cost of your current family, both bio and non-bio. Do with that what you will. He will most likely have his room back by next summer, and if not, we will figure out solutions then. I have explained all this to him, but he's not hearing me. So do you not expect him to come home to visit? What about holidays? It sounds like you're not listening to him, and you all are overexerting yourself and don't actually have the space for all these kids. Fostering is a choice, and you're doing it at the expense of your own kids. You're the asshole. You're taking on more than you can really handle here. It's admirable that you want to help, but crowding these children in to the point that you're pushing out your own children is not the stable, loving home they need. These children can see that your own child is losing their place in the house, and that will absolutely affect their trust in you as a source of stability. You're doing no favors to your foster children, and you're undermining your relationship with your own son at that. Please scale back your giving to something more manageable. You're the asshole. You want to help, but there is a point where you can help only at the expense of your children, and it looks like you already reached that point. I suspect this is not about the room. I think your family's situation is unstable, and your children feel that their life may change in any moment, that they don't have their own place, just temporary location. And your son? With so many children, including those he doesn't really know and doesn't feel any connection to, he may feel that you've replaced him. You're the asshole. Why are you prioritizing new foster kids over your biological children? My other adult son also contacted me about the situation to essentially tell me it was a bad idea, and that his brother is really upset, and just because he's been away for college a year doesn't mean he is ready to lose his spot in the house. A life tip: if a person agrees to something to you, but then expresses that they're upset to another person, it probably means they're not comfortable with telling you the truth. You're the asshole. He most likely won't be back. You've made the decision that he's not a permanent member of your family anymore. It's not just an empty room that he sleeps in when he's visiting you. It's his bedroom with his stuff in his home. College is temporary. He'll stay with friends or his older siblings during college visits. It will be easier to be a guest in their home than in yours. You're the asshole. Be ready for your son to never come visit anymore because he doesn't feel like he has a place. Former foster kid here: you're the asshole. You simply do not have the room to foster these kids. It sucks. I know you want to help, but you can't on this occasion. It is vital that you prioritize your bio kids. Every foster home I've been in has done that, and I've never felt unhappy about it. It's your son's home first. Always.
Am I the asshole for telling my sister that her husband is right and her baby name idea is stupid? I have a twin sister, Maisie. Maisie is pregnant with her first and due in February, and the baby is going to be a boy. Last week she opened up to me and said that she and her husband have been fighting over baby names, and she said she's sick of hearing about it and just wants to settle on a name that they both like. Maisie and her husband are both a bit geeky, not that there's anything wrong with that, and she told me she wants to name the baby Luffy, as in the character from One Piece. Her husband doesn't want this name and says the kid will be bullied. She asked for my honest opinion and I told her that the name is silly and her husband is right. I tried to say this gently, but really how gently can you tell someone their idea is stupid? I suggested that she goes back to the drawing board on that one and maybe look at names of lesser-known anime characters if that's what she wants. Maisie got upset and said the name is cute and we're both just being closed-minded. I told her she asked for my honest opinion and she got it. She kept trying to convince me that it was a good name and the conversation was becoming hysterical, and I told her it's a stupid name. End of discussion. She started crying and left, and since then she's been giving me the cold shoulder. Our parents told me to just tell Maisie that I'm sorry because my words really upset her and I should have been nicer about it. But it is a stupid name for a child outside of the anime world. She can give the baby a normal name but call him Luffy as a nickname or something. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Why can't she just call the baby Luffy, but actually give them a name that is not fucking ridiculous? Luffy is kinda funny though. I will keep it in mind if we ever get a new cat. Not the asshole. I think she's losing sight that she's naming a future adult, not a forever baby. She could use it as a nickname, but as a legal name? It's awful. Kids are brutal, they'll find any reason to bully if they're inclined to bully, but parents don't need to hand them material. Not the asshole. Luffy is a stupid name. Can you imagine Luffy Jones on a resume? Haha, come on. Our parents told me to just tell Maisie that I'm sorry because my words really upset her and I should have been nicer about it. This has me wondering. Were you actually mean, or more harsh than you let on in this post? Or are your parents just protective of your sister? Luffy is not a good name for a child in my opinion. It's more suited for a stuffed animal, or a new innovative pillow brand. Or something. You can have a unique name without it being comical. Not the asshole. That is a stupid name. That kid will be bullied. Kids have to live with their name until they're 18. Just because someone is super into anime or DD or whatever doesn't mean that should carry over into naming their child. Different? Fine. Unisex? Fine. A name practically guaranteed to get a kid bullied? You're an R. Luffy for a boy is a terrible name. Even for a girl I'm very hesitant because it's way too cute. But she asked your opinion and you gave it, not the asshole. She's naming a baby, not a puppy. That kid will absolutely be bullied. Not R. Her child is not a billboard for her fandom. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. The day a bully starts to call her Luff and then transitions that to Muff will be the beginning of her demise. Not the asshole. Luffy's name is Monkey D. Luffy, why didn't she consider naming him Monkey? Not the asshole. Tell her to imagine future Dr. Luffy Smith or President Luffy Smith or even Teacher Luffy Smith. It is a cute name for a baby, but she is having a whole human who will become an adult someday. Not the asshole. People really need to learn not to ask questions they don't want the answer to. I think it's always tacky when people name their kids after pop culture characters when it's a unique name and easy to associate with the show. You're absolutely right that the kid would get bullied. People who ask for an honest opinion and then get angry when it's given RTA. Not the asshole. I would have told my sister the exact same thing. If she's asking for your honest opinion, she can't be upset if it's different than what she wants to hear. Not the asshole. She shouldn't ask questions that she doesn't truly want an answer to. On another note, you could suggest Luffy as a nickname. She could use a name like Lucas or Lucien, which will work for him as an adult and make it less likely for him to be bullied or turned away from a job. Woman shrugging. Edit autocorrect made Luffy to Kiddie. I had to fix it, rolling eyes face. Not the asshole. Not a fan of fandom names overall. but if she really must, then she should pick a character from the show with a real name: Robin, Frankie, Brooke, or Tony, smiley face. Not the asshole. I love One Piece, both the anime series and shockingly the live-action movie, but I sure as hell wouldn't name my kid Luffy. Goofy Luffy or Puffy Luffy seem like natural nicknames. Poor kid. Even Usopp, Nico, Kobe, or Shanks from the series are way names better after the kid is 5-6. Info: is she giving birth to a kitten? Perhaps a puppy? Some other cute pet who has no chance of being introduced? As all rise for the Honorable Judge Luffy last name. Not the asshole. Luffy and Cheely are both name ideas that should never come to fruition. Forcing your fandom on your offspring is always a bad idea. Natar. Baby names need both parents' consent. One no veto. Look, she can call him Luffy as a nickname, but he needs a different name. I think these discussions need to be between your sister and her husband. You may have been a bit harsh, but she kept pushing it. Not the asshole. Natar, since she asked. And both parents should agree on the name. I would just like to point out all of the people that named their kid Khaleesi when GOT first came out and how they regret it now. She should obviously give him a real name and call him Luffy as a pet name. As it is and always will be, don't ask questions if you just want to be agreed with. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She asked for your honest opinion and now she's mad that she got it. Naming a kid after a fandom is unbelievably risky, even if it's a normal name. Picking a name that is immediately, identifiably from an anime? No. She needs to remember that she's not just naming a baby, she's naming a person. The name being cute is not the only consideration. He will be named Luffy as a cute baby, and as a 15-year-old teen boy, and as a 30-year-old man. Okay, probably not as a 30-year-old, because legal name changes are a thing. Not the asshole. This is your nephew and your mom's grandson. Do you guys care about him? If yes, then don't let this name happen. Your sister isn't listening and just wants to get her way. Try to get her to see sense before he comes. Not the asshole. It's ultimately up to her what to name the child, but she asked for your honest opinion and you gave it. Luffy is not a good name choice. As a child they will be bullied and as an adult they will not be taken seriously. Also, naming your child after a fandom is a straight-up awful choice. The child might have no interest in anime. One Piece could have a new season or reboot that changes the meaning of the name. That child is going to have a whole lifetime of Luffy, Luffy. No, it's from a TV show. Yes, my mom really liked it. As a middle name, fine. As a first name? Kinda cruel. Not the asshole. She asked you a question and you gave her an honest answer. You tried to give your answer in a really nice way and then she flew off the handle. She seems like she only wanted you to be a yes man and not answer honestly. If she wanted that, she shouldn't have asked. Not the asshole. She kept on after you gave your opinion. That's on her. An adult named Luffy, good grief. Not the asshole. I was actually considering Luffy for a pet, so cute name. The problem for an actual human male is that there is no way for it to grow up. If they are actually considering Luffy for a little girl, I would suggest that they switch over to Nami. Not the asshole. She asked, you answered. That's not a guarantee you'll agree with her. You were honest and that's all you can do. And yes, that poor kid would be teased for that name. Not the asshole. She asked for your opinion and you gave it. Luffy is something you'd name a hamster. Not the asshole. She's naming a human, not a puppy. Luffy is not a human name. Also, naming a child should be 2 yes or it's a no.
Am I the asshole? For not wanting my wife to refer to me by my first name when talking to my kids. My wife recently started using my first name when referring to me to our preteen kids. As in, Steve's gonna pick you up from school tomorrow. I asked her not to when I first heard it, saying I don't really like when you use my first name to the kids. Can you say your dad or dad? She said Steve is your name. I don't see the problem. But I eventually got her to see things my way. A couple months go by and I had heard her say it periodically. Like Steve can pick what to have for dinner. Finally today she did it again and I said, babe, I know we talked about it before. But can you please use your dad when talking to the kids? And she says it's totally subconscious. It's not like I mean to. You're probably going to have to remind me again like 50 times. At this point, I said that's not really acceptable. If you hear me and respect my wishes, it doesn't need an excuse or hedging. You can just say okay. She started getting upset, yelling and said I was being difficult and should just accept that she can't control it. I didn't think it needed a big discussion, and finally diffused the situation by saying sure. I believe you'll try. It just sounded like a cop-out for no reason, setting us up for the same discussion some time down the road. Am I the asshole here? Info: how is it that this suddenly started to happen? My parents have been divorced not even amicably for over 25 years. My parents still refer to each other as your mother and your father and not by one another's names when talking to us. It's weird she's calling you by your name in front of your kids. Not the asshole. Not the asshole up. Something is going on here. Well, why does she suddenly need reminding your dad? I mean, she used to call you dad. Could get petty and refer to her by her name, but I suspect that's not going to go well. Maybe something bigger is going on? You're not the asshole, but there is something not right here. So my husband and I had this exact same fight. It really was unconscious on my behalf. When he started calling me by my first name to the kids, I didn't even notice, which unfortunately frustrated him more. Lol. But once he pointed out what he was doing and how important it was to him to be called dad, I made a serious conscious effort to always call him dad, not the asshole. For all the folks thinking something else is going on, that's a reach. For me it was just laziness because there was so much else on my mind. Seriously. Info: I am the father of our kids. I don't think she's cheating. I have downvoted negative comments on here or speculation. We love each other. The main question was about her reaction to me doubling down. It could have been seen as a criticism. Like her best isn't good enough. But I called BS. Which she then took exception to. Was it an thing to not accept her explanation? I feel like the verdict is in. It's okay to stand up for how I want to be represented. I'm going to work on arriving at that without making her feel like she's not enough. Scissor. Edited for format. One up her and change your name to dad. Is this a cultural thing? Parents in my family use their spouse's first name often. I've never thought twice about it. And the kids certainly don't. Honestly, I have gotten off the phone with my mom and used my husband's name when talking to the kids right after. The kids, however, very quickly would say one of two things. You mean dad? Or who is Steve? He has done the same to me. This seems quite different though. A slip up when you have a lot on your mind seems very different than what is happening here. My husband has done it a bit more lately, but I know it's because he is stressed right now. His dad just got put on hospice, so he is a bit spacey. The phone thing was right after I was walking my mom through paperwork when my dad passed. Not the asshole. My dad's name is Bob. Never in my 50 years have I ever heard my mother say Bob will pick you up at the train. It's always Dad will. Her new habit is weird. And WHT's more annoying is you have asked her not to and she makes excuses whining that she can't. Which is BS. Why would she be doing that as a new behavior? Weird. Her excuses are weird too. Not the asshole. Go Saints. I do not get this. My sister's family is a yours, mine, ours thing, and their kids have gone through stages of calling Each parent mom, dad, or the kid calling them by their first name. My nephew was raised by my sister and bro-in-law, his stepdad. He has never really called him dad ever, but acknowledges him as his father. My step-niece just recently, as of a few years, started calling my sister mom. Unless you're like a bio parent, then this seems weird. Otherwise, maybe it's just the stage the kids are in. Your wife? No clue. This seems fake. Not the asshole. In this household, my name is Mom and nothing else. I would want to know what's up if that suddenly changed after so many years. Not the asshole. Is your wife deliberately trying to get under your skin? Honestly, if it weren't for confusing the kids, I would do it right back to her and let her see how it feels. There's no way she isn't doing this on purpose. It's so counterintuitive and weird. Nah. People here are reading too much into it. It can get super uncomfortable to always refer to one's spouse as mom, dad. I bet mommy pig and daddy pig are in a sexless marriage. You keep saying you identify as their father. Do they have a bio father who has recently come back into their lives? Man, I'm 28 and still call my dad dad, and my mom still says your father. I think my mom has referred to my dad as Michael to me like 5 times in my life, and it was usually when she was mad at him. I'm disappointed at the paranoia of many of these comments. Our child has always called us by our names like the rest of the world, including our parents. Refers to us either by name or my mom, dad, but still loves and respects us as their parent without the sky falling or anyone being confused about our relationships. Nah. Op. You are in an adult relationship. Most of the people are either not or are the reason they aren't in one. If your kids still call you dad, why does it matter? You need to ask yourself why it is so important that your adult wife, who knows and uses your real person name, is not allowed to do that around your kids. I can see your complaints about her not respecting your wishes about something she only recently started doing. But I also understand where she is coming from, that it shouldn't matter. Unless you're the stepfather, who is frequently referred to by their name, but which you seemingly are not. This makes no sense. Not the asshole. Did she call her parents by their first names? Do your kids call her by her first name? This is just weird. A little shocked by all the responses here. I'm going with nah. It's annoying that she slips up, but it's also not crazy that she thinks about you as a person with a name. Your kids are growing up, I'm guessing, and she's going out of manic mom mode where she constantly translates the world to them. Not the asshole. She'd probably be pissed as hell if you ignored any boundaries she has. Why is she ignoring this simple request? She can control it since you said she's only started doing it recently. What has she said the last 10 years? That guy who lives with us will take you. She needs to respect your feelings and fucking try harder. Not the asshole. She's referred to you as dad their whole lives up until this point, I'm assuming. So what's her excuse for all of a sudden referring to you by your name? I call BS on her claiming she's been doing that for years. Otherwise your kids would have probably been calling you that instead of dad. Not the asshole. She isn't slipping up or forgetting. She only recently started using your given name. Presumably, in their younger years, she referred to you as dad around the kids. If she has trouble remembering, start referring to her as babe to the kids. I bet she'll start remembering soon enough. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding dress after she ruined mine? Hey Reddit, long-time lurker, first-time poster. This situation has been eating me up and I'd really appreciate some outsider perspectives. So, my sister and I have had our ups and downs, as most siblings do. However, we've been really close the past few years. And I was so excited to have her as my maid of honor for my wedding last year. Flashback to my wedding day. I had this beautiful dress that I spent a fortune on. After the ceremony and during the reception, I noticed some red wine had been spilled on the bottom of my dress. I was devastated. I later found out from a bridesmaid that my sister had accidentally knocked over her wine glass. When she was trying to take a funny photo, she didn't come forward about it and didn't even apologize when I confronted her. Fast forward to now. My sister is getting married and she's fallen in love with a dress that's way out of her budget. She asked if I'd help her pay for half of it as her wedding gift. I flat out refused. I brought up how she ruined my dress and didn't take responsibility. And I feel like I shouldn't have to contribute towards hers. Now my family is divided. Half of them think I'm being petty and that I should let go of past grudges. The other half thinks I'm justified. So, am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding dress after she ruined mine? I don't understand why she'd ask you to pay for dress even if she didn't ruin your dress. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. The whole background of what happened to your dress at your wedding is irrelevant. You are not obligated to dress your adult sister. Wow. Lucky sis, she has an entire half of your family believing she is entitled to others paying for 50% of the dress, no doubt. They would be more than happy to all chip in to cover the remainder of the cost, not the asshole. To the half of the family that thinks that you're being petty, tell them to pay for it. If they're so concerned about her dress. Not your problem. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Rule 1: do not try on wedding dresses outside your budget. Your sister should have known that going in. She owes you for the cleaning bill on your wedding dress. Not the asshole. It's not your responsibility to pay for any of her dress. She will just have to either find a dress in her budget or find a way to come up with the money to pay for the dress. Not the asshole. Regardless of how she ruined your dress, you are in no way obligated to help pay for hers. But especially because of how she treated you, your dress, I'd say heck no to helping pay for hers. Not the asshole. The backstory makes no difference. Your sister wants something and can't pay for it. You're not obligated to help her afford it. Not the asshole. Even if she hadn't been immature about ruining your dress, you're under no obligation to help pay for hers. Not the asshole on principle. Your money is yours, and you can do with it what you want, regardless of reason. Op. Who paid for your dress? Hint: I bet not your little sister. Not the asshole. Lil sis needs to spend her own money. You shouldn't have to pay for half of the dress regardless. She can get a toaster. I do think that you should let any hang-ups you have about the dress go. If you have any. You're never going to wear that dress again, but your family will be part of your life forever. Not the asshole. Even if she hadn't spilled wine on your dress, you shouldn't be involved in paying for her dress unless you offered to do so. It's crazy how many families just assume one of their kids is financially responsible for anyone but themselves. Half the cost of the wedding dress as a gift is an exorbitant gift to be outright asking for. NTA. Even if she did not ruin your dress, you are not obligated to pay any money towards her dress. This is a good time for your sister to learn to budget. Wine or no wine, it's not your job to pay for her dress. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It's not your responsibility to pay for her wedding. She needs to budget better if she wants to eat caviar with a plastic spoon. What she did to your dress is entirely irrelevant. Not the asshole. That's a hell of a big assumption that you'd pay half. Were you even planning on spending that much on her wedding gift? Never mind the fact that she ruined your gown and failed to fess up to it. Not the asshole. And I'd still have that judgment even if she hadn't ruined your dress. I'm amazed She'd even ask you. In A, you shouldn't spend your money if you don't want to. For everyone saying you are petty, they can give money. B, did she apologize when you brought it up? She 100 should have told you when it happened and when try to fix it and pay for it to be cleaned or replaced. Not the asshole. This has nothing to do with your dress. You don't owe her anything and should be required to pay for her dress. Either they can put their money together and pay for the dress, or our sister can find a dress that fits within her budget like most reasonable brides do. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. All of the people thinking you are petty should donate to her dress fund. Ask them how much they are contributing towards the dress. Your wedding gift to her should be a dose of financial reality. Trust me, it's priceless. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Kind of cheeky and entitled of the sister to ask this of you. Not the asshole. To be honest, the damage to your dress is irrelevant. You have no obligation to help pay for her wedding. The only people who have an obligation to pay for their own wedding is the bride and groom. Anything else is a gift that should be offered, not asked for. Even if she hadn't spilled the wine, why would you pay for half her dress? First off, I don't think you should have to get anybody a wedding gift that isn't of your choosing. So do what you wish there. But don't you think it's odd that your bridesmaid saw this happen and didn't say anything in the moment? Maybe you could have gotten some, if not all, of the stain out had she alerted you immediately of the spill if she saw it occur. That just seems strange to me. I'd say you were let down by two bridesmaids on that day. What did your sister say when you confronted her about it? She didn't apologize, but did she own it? Did she know some got on your dress? Not the asshole. Start a group chat with everyone. Tell your sister that the following people offered to help her. Then list everyone who thinks you are being petty. Then tell them to fuck off. Her lack of budgeting doesn't make you responsible to pay, even as her sister. To add insult to injury though, she gets a beautiful gown and it isn't ruined. I mean, I'm a real I'd buy it and then spill red wine on it on purpose just for her entitled fit throwing. That's just me, lol. Would you have helped her pay for the dress if she hadn't spilled wine on your dress? Did she ever apologize for what she did to your dress? Not the asshole. Is that a thing, paying for your sister's wedding dress? Never heard of it and kinda ballsy to ask. Not the asshole. The answer doesn't make you any less not the asshole, but I'm curious. Who paid for your wedding dress? And why does everyone else feel like you should pay for hers? Not the asshole. Leaving your dress out of the equation for a minute. When a bride goes in to look at dresses, one of the questions asked is, what is your budget? She should not have looked at any dress out of that amount. Bringing your dress into it. She won't even own responsibility for her clumsy photography session. Won't apologize. Says it's no big deal. So turn that around on her. Don't apologize for not helping her. Just something like it's just a dress. Why does it matter so much?
Am I the asshole? For changing the wedding venue, my fiancé chose to something more flashy as a surprise. I am marrying this coming October. We both have very large families, but ours is really poor and kind of traditional. As a result, my fiancée has been taught to always go for the cheapest option throughout her life, whether we are going out to eat or buying clothes or going on holiday. Well, we've been planning the wedding, and the choice of venue was typical for her, a small local church where she was christened. Right off the bat, the place isn't suitable for the number of guests who will be invited, and I knew she only chose that location because of money, which is not an issue. I spoke to my father, and he agreed to fund a wedding abroad in Venice. I'm their only child, so getting married is a big deal, and to arrange transportation for all the guests. He agreed to cover all expenses. So obviously I changed the venue and sent out invitations. I knew the money spent would make her anxious and she has always dreamed of visiting Venice, so I waited to tell her until it was organized as a surprise. Well, she didn't take it well and said I was a massive asshole and that she had much preferred the church venue. She said it was too embarrassing to cancel it now that I've told people, but seems really mad. I'm confused since that venue was never practical and am wondering if I'm the asshole here or if she's overreacting. Am I the asshole? You're the asshole. Why would you change not only the venue but the location of the wedding without talking it over with the person you are marrying? Why is Venice a better choice than the church she has an emotional connection with better? Would your partner have liked a destination wedding in a place other than Venice better? Why do you and your father get to make these decisions for her without even involving her? You're the asshole. A marriage is supposed to be a partnership. You operated completely behind her back, then revealed it once it was a fait accompli. How can you be confused about her reaction? You think you sent the message he's willing to get his parents to do extravagant things for us, or if you didn't tell her it's daddy's money, he's willing to spend so much to give me nice things. The message you actually sent is he does not give one benighted fuck about my feelings and desires. He's always going to make huge decisions behind my back. X200B. You'll be lucky if she doesn't call it off. You're the asshole. Going behind your partner's back to change a huge aspect of something they're planning seems to be the absolute worst way to start a marriage. Next time communicate, like a normal husband would. I knew the money spent would make her anxious and she has always dreamed of visiting Venice. So, why didn't you just plant a honeymoon there? Dude, her family may not even have passports to leave the country. International travel isn't a norm for working-class families. You didn't change the venue, you completely uprooted what was a beautiful commitment ceremony and made it a lavish party for you. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. So much so that it's astounding it's not obvious to you. Her choice wasn't about money, but about a sentimental attachment to the venue. You didn't communicate, you didn't discuss, you simply went ahead and disregarded her feelings. If you wish to have a successful marriage, you better learn to listen. X200B. Edit typo. You're the asshole. You need to learn the difference between our and mine. Is your fam going to change your firstborn's name behind her back too? Agree to a family home and then buy a condo behind her back. Agree to a family car then buy a Beamer cause you are the boss. This is your first big decision as a couple. You took that away. Not cool. You're the asshole, and you have just shown her that you feel like you have the right to decide things without consulting her because you have the money and she doesn't. Also, the emotional value of the church that she was christened is probably more important to her than it being flashy. You're the asshole. Did it ever occur to you that your wife choosing the same church she got christened in to get married in might have had more to do with sentimental value and emotional connection to the location as opposed to the cost? You seem like you have no interest in marrying your wife and just having a party to impress people that daddy has money and will spend it on his special boy. You're the asshole. You are about to start a relationship and instead of acting like a partner, you made a unilateral decision, which goes against the nature of who your fiancé is. Guaranteed, she is going to have relatives who won't feel comfortable taking what they see as a handout and showing off wealth difference. Dude. Seriously. You're the asshole. The wedding isn't about you, it's about both of you together, meaning that all decisions need to be made together. This was a really shitty thing to do. You don't just completely change the entire plan of a wedding like that without telling the fucking bride. Of course guests are confused, that's absolutely ridiculous of you to do, and if it were me, I would be leaving you over this. Major breach of trust and communication. You're the asshole. If her family are poor, how will they be able to afford to travel and pay hotels etc.? You should have stuck to the original wedding plans and went on honeymoon to Venice. You're the arsehole. This is definitely something that should have been discussed. You didn't just change the venue, you hijacked the wedding. She may have chosen the church because it has sentimental value as that's where she was christened. Or it could have been about price. You should have still discussed a different venue before hijacking the entire wedding and changing the whole aspect of it. You're the asshole. It would have been a very nice gesture if you had talked about it with her. And even if you would have decided to keep the small church venue after all, your fiancé would have appreciated your idea. Please talk together when you make plans. Not everybody likes surprises, even nice thoughtful ones. You're the asshole. That should have been a conversation with her. Abroad weddings are so much more complicated than just money. People need to take longer off work which might not be allowed. They might not have the annual leave for it and so won't be paid. Is daddy paying for that? People might not have passports and so can't actually travel. Is daddy paying for that? What language is the ceremony in? The extra costs of traveling, like paying for extra meals or the fact that everyone else is going out. Is daddy paying for that? Why on earth would you not just talk to your fiancé, like this would be a massive deal breaker for me? You could have just gone on honeymoon to Venice. You're the asshole. Although I see you are trying to be generous. It's a day that's important to her and you should have included her on such a serious decision. Others may still not be able to attend even if the base costs were covered. You're the asshole. Always discuss with your fiancé about everything wedding related. You say you know she only chose the church because it was cheap, but she was also christened there, so it could mean a lot more than what you think it really does. Also, I'm not sure where you're located and Venice could be a 2-day trip, which means family members have to request 2 days off that they may not have despite travel being paid for. Personally, I don't think she's mad that you chose Venice. I think she's just upset that you did it without discussing it with her. I'm confused since that venue was never practical. So why didn't you, AITA, talk to her about it? You wanted to show off is why. Your marriage is doomed if you can't learn to discuss important issues with your wife. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Should have sat down and discussed it with her, instead of immediately deciding to do a destination wedding. You're the asshole. Unilateral decision-making does not make for a strong marriage. Also, you come off as a little bit classist in this post. You're the asshole. Jesus fuck, by the way honey, I rescheduled our wedding venue to Venice. Is not the vibe you think it is. You're the asshole. Offering Venice would be an awesome thing to do, but not without consulting her. That is a massive change of plans. You're the asshole. That church has sentimental value to her and her family, and that is clearly why she chose it. You could have just narrowed the guest list down for the ceremony in the church itself and invited more people to the reception after party. Instead you've gone way out of line and organized something completely different that your future wife clearly doesn't want, without even running it by her. You've been entirely led by what other people will think of your wedding, making you sound shallow and thoughtless. Great qualities in a husband. You're the asshole. You should have talked with her about this. Lol, you're the asshole obviously. Hopefully for her you don't have a prenup. You're the asshole. You should have discussed something this major, not sprung it on her as a surprise. TBH, I hate all surprises, good ones I hate a little less. If my husband had done this, I would be seriously reconsidering the wedding. Am I the asshole? For only allowing my sil into my wedding if she get pat down before she comes in. So good news, she is not coming. I didn't even have to disinvite her, brother will be there also. I'm going to start with I don't like my sil Emily, so I need to know if I am biased in this. She is a super heavy drinker. There have been so many events that she has ruined due to her drinking. No matter what, she will bring some type of drink even if it's the kid's birthday party. I don't think I have ever met her sober. It's a problem. Even events we tell B there is not alcoholic beverages allowed, she will bring one. Our wedding is alcohol free for a few reasons, but the biggest ones are there will be a ton of children and some people at the wedding have a bad history with it. My mother and aunt also. It saves us money to not have an open. The invited were very clear, and we also informed anyone if they do bring stuff they will be kicked out. no issue. The wedding is in a week and my Sil came to the practice and was drinking. I'm sick of it and I overheard her talking about bringing some drink anyways since the rules are stupid. I told her I am done, if she wishes to attend we will pat her down beforehand since I don't trust her with the rule, and that she doesn't have to go if she doesn't want to. My family is on my side with this but my brother is pissed and we have been arguing constantly. He clearly thinks I am the jerk for this and I'm not backing down. I would simply uninvite her. She's clearly causing trouble whenever she can, and sober or not, I doubt your wedding will be the exception. Pat your brother down too. If he's that sympathetic he's bound to sneak a hip flask in. I mean, it's not like your wishes for your wedding are important. Not the asshole, but you might have been better off not inviting her as you're going to have to kick her out anyway. She's going to show up drunk. Has your brother admitted she's an alcoholic? Not the asshole. Sil cannot be trusted. I wouldn't even offer the pat down rule, just say you've had time to think about it and you do not want her there. I mean, you have never seen her sober? That's a deal breaker. Don't let her come. Not the asshole. I would just disinvite her period. She is not worth having to worry about her getting drunk and sneaking alcohol in. Not the asshole. But as someone in recovery I guarantee you that she will find a way around it. Drink before. Leave in vehicle and find a way to access it. Don't invite her. Or disinvite. Not the asshole. A pat down would probably not work if she is this committed to her drinking. A disinvite is the only thing that would work. Show your brother this thread. Maybe he will understand. Not the asshole, but why even bother with that pat down? Don't let her attend. Problem solved. Not the asshole. You set a clear and reasonable boundary. Your Sil bragged about violating it. Then you gave her the choice of proving that she didn't or leaving. She will still find a way to drink. In the past I've successfully snuck in 4 SM bottles of liquor to a concert where I was searched and patted down by 2 female security guards. So a pat down might not work. Or she'll drink first. Or she'll keep it in the car or stash it somewhere else. Also, I have no idea how much or often she drinks, but if she does decide to make this an alcohol-free night, that could be dangerous. People who drink a lot should never stop cold turkey. Not the asshole. I would not even invite her. Someone that committed to being drunk will find a way. And subjecting her to a put down while she is drunk is just going to cause a scene. You do not need this at your wedding. Not the asshole. But it kinda sounds like your Sil might be at a point where she physically cannot be sober. Like, she will be ill if she is not drinking. Not the asshole. Nobody want a drunk alcoholic at their wedding. She clearly has an addiction problem, and it's not helping her to let her continue to bring drink to every event she goes. You are already accommodating by inviting her. Not the asshole but patting her down? LOL, how is that going to work? She can just get drunk ahead of time. I have plenty of family members that will arrive super tipsy or drunk to events when they know no alcohol will be served. I'd uninvite her. Not the asshole. She is an alcoholic. Not the asshole. More concerning is your brother thinking his wife's drinking is okay. He is an enabler. I hope they don't have any children to fuck up. Stick to your guns. I think it's time for your brother to face the fact, your sister-in-law is an alcoholic. If anything, I think your sister-in-law needs some help, and your brother needs to face the music that your sister-in-law is a heavy drinker. Either she comes to the wedding sober or she doesn't come at all. Not the asshole. If you want my advice, you should ban both your Sil and your brother from the wedding entirely. You know she's just gonna show up sloshed and you're gonna have to kick her out anyways, or your brother is gonna sneak in alcohol for your sister-in-law. Not the asshole. Incidentally, you should pat your brother down, too. Not the asshole, but she shouldn't have been invited in the first place. Not the asshole. Your Sil has a huge problem and good for you for not enabling it. If she can't attend a party without alcohol, better she not come at all. Nota, but you might want to uninvited them all together. She is definitely going to make a spectacle at the wedding. My husband just said that she's not going to come with booze, but she's going to get shit-faced right before. Uninviting her is probably your best option. Flip your thinking around. There is no way she will tolerate being sober, based on what you have said, so either she will show up wasted, get booze in, or leave. If you don't want her there wasted, you don't want her there at all. Denial is so powerful. Lots of serious alcoholics in my family and none that desperate. Not the asshole, of course. Your brother's wife has a drinking problem and he has an enabling problem. That's on them. Insisting on making their problems into everyone else's problems is unacceptable and you're not standing for it. Let security know that she is a big risk and let someone else be in charge of throwing them out if she shows up with a flask. Not the asshole. They don't have to come. If they come, they have to respect your rules. Not the asshole, but I think you have to uninvite her. My dad used to hide alcohol in the goddamn bushes outside of our apartment. Alcoholics can be resourceful and determined. Your brother should take her to the AA. X200B. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It all sounds like your sil might be addicted. Sneaking in alcohol and repeat heavy drinking even though told not to sounds a bit like it. Not the asshole. Uninvite her. It's your wedding and it is already stressing you out, so cut her out. Your brother can invite her to his wedding, but he has no say in who you invite to yours. Cut him out too if he can't stop stressing you out. Not the asshole. She can come to the ceremony, but is not welcome for the dinner. You guys can go out together for dinner after the formal wedding, where the alcohol-free rules do not apply. A good compromise for someone with alcohol issues. Your brother is enabling her shitty behavior and her drinking problem. You shouldn't have to risk your wedding being ruined by a drunk so that your brother feels better about his wife. Not the asshole. She's ill. She's an alcoholic. If you didn't want her to drink at your wedding, you shouldn't have invited her. You can disinvite her instead of humiliating her at the door. Alcohol is a horrible drug. She probably has to drink a certain amount to not have a health emergency. You should either pay everyone down or talk it out and set a boundary. I have people like that in my family and it's a shitty situation, but patting one person down is going to make you look like a monster and it's rude. Her sibling is the one who should be handling that anyway. Tell her just enough to not shake is all she can have, or not come, but in private and beforehand. Not the asshole. Do not invite her. She will just pre-game or drink in her car when she goes for a smoke. Just uninvite her. Do not let her come in. Do not let her show up at all on the premises. If your brother can't handle that either, then get rid of him too. Not the asshole. Is your brother volunteering to be on Emily duty and to pull her from the venue the instant she acts up? Doubtful. Nope. Not the asshole. But, I would have uninvited her just based on what you heard. Your brother can screw himself as well if he decides not to show up. No need to go through the drama of patting her down. She can always give the package to someone else to smuggle it in.